ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus again, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. I want you to know that I am as angry as heaven. Let me say that again. I am as angry as heaven. I have just spent 39 years. Next year, 2019, will be 40 years that I have been out here in the wilderness. What do you mean, Eddie, saying you've been in the wilderness? Well, I'm not just talking to everybody, but I'm speaking to all of my family members, all of my extended family members, all of my friends, all of my classmates in elementary school, in high school, in college, all of my friends while working at the Veterans Administration, all of my friends and associates with the military, all of my friends here in the city and state of Minnesota, all of my karaoke buddies, everybody that has ever crossed my path, I'm speaking to you. And I got a story to tell you. There are people that's living in poverty. There are people that's poor. And it's time it stopped. It's time it stopped, and I tell you why. I am mad as heaven. Because heaven has informed me that it has prepared that no one in this country, not only in this country, but no one on this earth should ever live in poverty. Even when there were just two people, there was no one to live in poverty. And all of the billions that's on this earth right now, no one should live in poverty. The only reason that people live in poverty today is because there are people who have usurped the authority that God has given each of us. And most of us have allowed that authority to be usurped. And as a consequence of that, we have too much poverty. But I want it to stop. For 40 years, I've been out here working for free, trying to advocate for the end of poverty, going through every organization I could associate myself with, writing newspapers and bulletins and doing radio programs. I've done it all over this country. I've walked the streets in various states, thrown out in the streets in Washington, D.C. by policemen for standing up for ending poverty. I have done it all, ladies and gentlemen. I've communicated with churches all over this nation, to end poverty. I have, my friends, used platforms running for president of the United States at least 3 times, standing against poverty. Governor of the state of Minnesota, standing against poverty. Mayor of St. Paul, Minnesota, standing against poverty. Mayor of Woodbury, Minnesota, standing against poverty. I have preached in the pulpit standing against poverty. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. For 40 years, make it 39, I have not got one positive response from anyone about ending poverty except maybe 5 people. I can only think of one, and that's Simone Addison. That's the only one I can think of that was committed. And other than that, it's as if people are ashamed to say they're poor, even when they got nothing to eat. People that use shelters, people who eat at food shelves, they don't believe anything can happen. Plus the fact they can't assemble themselves because they're too poor to get together. All over the country right now, people are going, poor people who got a little change are going to the Goodwill. They're going to the dollar store. Of every race, they're going to the Dollar General, the general store, trying to survive. And people who got a job, who got a little money, they care. But they will not lift a hand. At least they haven't in the past 40 years. That's my testimony. And it is making me as angry as heaven. And I want it to stop. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I haven't just been out here. I have volunteered my time. I have not worked on jobs. Only this. Only this. My wife, my lovely, wonderful, God-given wife, has made sure that her efforts enabled the bills to be paid, the rent, the mortgage, the car note, the kids to have clothes to go to school, just taking care of all the kids that we've ever had. And my efforts have been out there trying to make a change in this nation for 39 years, 40 years next year. I keep saying 40 years because I know nothing is happening. And presently, I'm asking the people of the state of Minnesota to make me the replacement for Al Franken so I can take this message to Washington. And I can use Washington as a platform to speak to this whole nation. So that in the year 2020, I can run for president of the United States and stand up against poverty. But I can't do it, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot do it and be successful without you. And I'm speaking to you who are poor. Today, I hear that kids in school are assembling themselves all across the country. Many of them are going to Washington, standing up against gun control and getting some gun controls. Now they are making an effort. What about poor people? Will these same people stand with the poor people? They haven't. That 99% who was in Washington marching, will they stand with the poor people? They haven't. The Me Too group, will they stand with the poor people? They haven't. Black Lives Matter, have they stood with the poor people? They haven't. Entertainers and sports figures, guys who make it all kinds of money, have they stood with the poor people? They haven't. The churches, have they stood with the poor people? They haven't. The preachers, are they preaching against poverty? Are they standing with the poor people? They haven't. That's my testimony. 40 years, ladies and gentlemen, 40 years. And I got thousands of videos on YouTube and Facebook to attest to this. I got campaign material in various states of this nation advocating for the end of poverty. I've had reporters to write back saying the problem with my campaign is that I want more for you than you want for yourselves. But I'm angry now. I'm angry as heaven. Because not only have I been advocating for poverty, I made sure I knew what I was talking about because I am poor. I am poor. When I need my car worked on or my wife's car worked on, I'm out there fixing it because I can't afford to have it fixed. If she can't afford it because she's so busy taking care of those other things. She's worn out working herself to death, struggling in these jobs, trying to make sure she looks good on these jobs, jobs that shouldn't even exist. But they exist because the system have designed it in such a way that poor people find themselves doing certain things and they create a job for someone rather than ending the poverty. What are they doing with this tax money? Tax money going back to billionaires who don't need it. Tax money going to build to the military industrial complex to make more bombs that they never use. Send up additional satellites so they can watch every move you make. Every move you make. They got so many satellites they can monitor what you're thinking. You walk the streets, don't hum because they're picking up the sounds of you humming. You watch television, they're watching your moves, seeing what you're doing. This is what they're doing with money that could be used. Money that could be used by the government to put everybody to work and paying them a salary that would allow them to contribute in the process of creating the goods and services that are so essential for our survival. Not only that, putting money back in the economy, but now they're sending it to other countries. Israel, spending it in war places that they set up bases. They don't care. Michael Jackson says they don't care about us. Do you care? I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm ready to do something about it. I'm ready to do something more than what I've been doing. I'm tired of talking. I'm tired of talking. I'm tired of talking to the preachers. I'm tired of talking to the churches. I'm tired of talking to people who got jobs. I want to talk to you who are suffering. I'm tired of you hiding, selling drugs, trying to survive. I'm tired of you selling your bodies, trying to survive. I'm tired of you having to go through these unspeakable things, just trying to survive while people try to put you down, call you nothing, while they have robbed you. And if they are not robbing you, they're sitting silent with their mouths shut or watching people and allowing people to rob you. God says, stand up. Stand up and stop this stuff. By the power of God, you're not alone. If you stand up, God will stand with you. 40 years. It's long enough. I remember looking back on some of my brochures. I had black hair, a black beard. My skin was smooth. I looked all right, but right now I'm almost 70 years old, out here fighting for a cause that seems like everybody else is aware of, but don't nobody give a darn about. I'm tired of that. People want to go visit their families, they can't go. Broke. People want to go visit their relatives when they're sick, can't go. Broke. Want to go to class reunions, broke. Family reunions, broke. They just have to sit back and wonder, where is God? While preachers, I'm saying it, they're preaching about stories about the Bible and nothing about what it all means. What it means, you've got to love God with all your heart. You've got to put God first. Put God first, you're not afraid of anything. Somebody say, what does that mean, putting God first? It means loving people. Loving your neighbor. Who is your neighbor? Everybody else is your neighbor. Jesus said, even your enemies. Don't hate your enemies. Love your enemies, because if you start hating, the next thing you know, you'll be just as much of a hater as they are. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. It's time, my friends. I got to stand up and tell you that all of us, not just the rich, not just the whites, not just the elite, all of us are responsible for the predicament we find ourselves in. Every last one of us are responsible. And if anybody's going to be excused, it'll be the sick. The people who can't help themselves, who can't get around. But everybody else, even those of you at a soup line, I know you've been brought down so low. You have lost your hope. Dr. King has been killed and Jesse Jackson don't care. And Farrakhan don't know what to do. And Lord knows Donald Trump knows exactly what to do to cause you more pain. But I say to you, by the power of God, stand up. Don't take it anymore. Stand up. Don't take it anymore. If I sound like I'm angry, it is because I am angry. 40 years, 40 years, 40 years that I haven't been able to find one person, but one. I'll say 5, but only one I can identify that has had compassion enough to give up themselves to try to make a difference. I know there are those someplace in this country trying to do the same thing I'm doing, but we are so far apart, and the efforts have been made so quietly that it appears as though you and I are only doing it by ourselves with nobody helping. But don't give up if you're doing it. Don't you give up, because we're going to get together. We're going to get together. And those 99%, the Me Too generation, the guys and kids who are fighting for getting rid of guns, we are going to come together and we're going to speak. We're going to speak by the power of love that all of us are protected. The Me Too are protected. Black Lives Matter protected. The kids are protected from guns. The poverty is going to leave us, because we're going to come together and make sure that medicine is made that will help the sick, that the schools are open that will give us education, and that all of the job businesses are open so that every last one of us can have a job. Every last one of us can participate in this creative process. Nothing belongs to anybody. Everything belongs to God Almighty. And if you try to claim something that you are owner because the system that you live under set it up so you could, you are a thief. The system that has done it is a thief. Not just Putin, not just China, not just North Korea and Germany, but the United States as well. It's time we stand up. It's time we stand up. And by George, I challenge everybody that hears my voice, stand up and God will stand with you. It's time for this to end. And it's only going to end when we come together and make it end. Thank you.